Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Anna Mary, and in today's video, we are going to use one of our ESC tools, the light Venn diagram model, to explain how primary colors mix to form secondary colors, the physics behind this process, and the real-world application of this. Before we dive deeper, let's first discuss what color is and how color vision works. Color is the visual perception that results from how our eyes and brain interpret different wavelengths of light. When light hits an object, some of it is absorbed and the rest is reflected. The reflected light enters our eyes and our brain processes this information to produce the sensation of color. So how does color vision work? Well, it works in three ways, and these are light and wavelength, color perception, and objects interacting with light. Now, let's look at each in detail. So our first one is light and wavelength. Light is a form of electromagnetic radiation that travels in waves. Different wavelengths of light correspond to different colors. For example, shorter wavelengths appear as blue, medium ones appear as green, and longer ones appear as red. Our second one is color perception. The human eye has three types of color receptors called cones, which are sensitive to different ranges of light wavelengths. These cones are sensitive to red, green, and blue light. So when light enters the eye, it stimulates these cones to varying degrees, and the brain interprets the signals to produce the perception of color. Our third one is objects interacting with light, and this happens in two ways. One is by reflecting light, and the second one is by emitting light. Let's look at the first one, which is reflecting light. When light hits an object, it absorbs some wavelengths and reflects others. The color of the object is determined by the wavelengths of light it reflects. For example, a red apple appears red because it reflects the red wavelengths of light and absorbs others. 2 is emitting light. Some objects like screens or light bulbs emit light directly. The color of the emitted light depends on the wavelengths produced by the light source. So next, we are going to look at color mixing, and there are two different types of color mixing based on different principles, and that is additive color mixing and subtractive color mixing. In additive color mixing, new colors are created by combining different colors of light with red, green, and blue as primary colors. Adding two of these colors produce other colors called secondary colors, and when all the three are combined, white is produced. This method is mostly used in screens like TVs, smartphones, and computers. And in subtractive color mixing, new colors are created by mixing pigments, dyes, or inks. This is commonly used in printing, painting, and coloring materials. In today's video, we are focusing on additive color mixing. We will explore how this works using our ESC model that uses primary colors, a convex lens, and a white screen. When we turn on the light Venn diagram model, the three primary colors pass through the convex lens and are projected on the white screen. As light passes through the convex lens, it refracts, and the three primary colors overlap and converge on the screen, creating secondary colors where they intersect. So, where red and green overlap, we see yellow. Where green and blue overlap, we see cyan. And where blue and red overlap, we see magenta. And these are called secondary colors. However, if you look closely at the center of projection, where all the three primary colors overlap, we see white light. Let's dive into the physics behind this. We get yellow light when red light and green light overlap. This is because when the red light, which is the long wavelength, and the green light, which is the medium wavelength, overlap, their combined wavelengths cover a range that our eyes perceive as yellow. This is because the combination of red and green light stimulates red and green receptors in our eyes, resulting in the perception of yellow. Next, when green light and blue light overlap, we get cyan. This is because when green light, which is a medium wavelength, and the blue light, which is a short wavelength, overlap, their combined wavelengths cover a range which our eyes perceive as cyan. This happens because the combination of blue and green light stimulates both the green and blue receptors in our eyes, resulting in the perception of cyan. When blue and red light overlap, we see magenta. This is because when blue light, which is a short wavelength, and red light, which is a long wavelength, overlap, their combined wavelengths cover a range that our eyes perceive as magenta. This occurs because the combination of blue and red light stimulates both blue and red receptors in our eyes, resulting in the perception of magenta. Lastly, where all the three primary colors intersect, we see white light. This is because combining all the three primary colors in equal amounts produces white light. Each color represents a portion of the visible spectrum, and when combined, they create a full spectrum of visible light, which our eyes perceive as white light. Please note that other colors can be formed by mixing primary colors with secondary colors. These are called tertiary colors. So in today's video, we have covered what color is, how color vision works, and what happens when you mix primary colors. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!